Hey, beautiful people. It is Dills Victoria here, host of What's Your Brand Story podcast. Hope everyone's doing good today. All is well. I had a great day. Busy bee since I've got back to Savannah. It's just been on the go. Your girl is tired, but she good. So I have on the show today, this is going to be an amazing episode because this woman right here, she is awesome, amazing. I met her in, I want to say, 20 damn, has it been a while, 2018, 2019, something to that effect.
In person.
In person, yes.
Yes.
So I have the amazing, the awesome, the powerful Deni Van. She is hypnosis by design, among other things, and I'm so excited and so grateful to have her on What's Your Brand Story podcast, because I think it's so important that people get to know who you are on so many different ways and so many different levels. Like, I've been a fan for a very long time, and you just do some awesome shit.
I know for at least 6+ years,
6+
2018.
years.
Yeah. Holy
Absolutely.
cow, time is flying. And my brand story is if you know nothing about human design, the fast story is there's 5 energy types,
Mhm.
and it incorporates different thoughts, if you will,
Mhm.
ancient thoughts, if you will, and it incorporates that into creating your blueprint. So to find out
Mhm.
what your blueprint is, you need your name, and really you don't need your name, but you put your name in, your birth date, the time of your birth, and the location. And
Mhm.
so this gives you a blueprint. And when I was learning about human design, which was about 2016, I learned about, okay, I'm a this, and this, who cares?
Yeah.
And then life goes on. And then it's like, well, wait a second, what is that? Okay, oh my gosh, oh. And then over time, I start learning about my energy and how my energy blends with others. And I'm a manifester. And so when they say our energy is repelling, I recognize it now. And I
Wow.
know it's happening around me when it's happening. And it's just fascinating to see it in in the works, in
Mhm.
reality. And so what we do is we are reality designers. So we are designing
Mhm.
our own reality. And so a quick story is in 2001, I was diagnosed with cancer. And
Mhm.
my human design is a 5-1 manifester. So the 5-1 meaning what I'm consciously aware of, which is called the heretic, and
Mhm.
then one, which is what I'm unconsciously aware of, which is the researcher, the investigator. So in 2001, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I pretty much, well, I did. I said no to chemotherapy and radiation. So that's the heretic coming out, right?
Wow, you
Yeah,
said
but I
no.
didn't know it was the heretic, and I didn't know nothing about human design. But looking back, it's like, what other idiot would do such a thing? It's like,
Me,
I
this
gotta be
one right here.
heretic, 5-1 manifester, right? Like, oh my gosh, here I am being caught, not caught, but they say not singled out, but random. They call it random, it's random
Mhm.
through security. And I'm just kind of doing this, at the camera. It's like, what a fucking waste of time. So there's a
Exactly.
heretic coming out, right? Now it's like, oh my God, there she is. She's coming out. It's like, but the one in the researcher. So in 2001, the researcher came out big time. So it's like, okay, I'm saying no to chemotherapy and radiation. They're saying in a nuts, so nice way. What are you, nuts?
Right.
Dead in 2 years. If you don't follow this plan, you're going to be dead. So my husband, my poor husband, I had to do something. So the researcher side came out of me, and I started learning these things. And so, and of course, I'm learning all of these things purely for selfish reasons, because I said no to that, but I got to say yes to something. And
Yes.
met some great doctors, surgeons, oncologists, um, was involved with Loyola and all of that stuff, involved in great research and that kind of stuff. But they allowed me to make the choice to go in a different direction. And so hypnosis and energy and EFT and all of those things were some of the first things I started to apply to myself.
Wow.
And what I noticed today is, if you're listening to this story, it's like, oh wow, well, you had all that information, you learned all that, you learned it too. So I work with professionals, they have all this head knowledge, but there's no way of implementing it. So this is something
Right.
else that I've been discovering. It's like, okay, well, you're researching it, you have the knowledge, don't stop there. Now you have to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I began to implement it. And next thing I know is around 2008, which was well past their
Mm-hmm.
deadline, right?
Mm-hmm.
People started coming to me.
Of
So I've
course.
been a professional linguist for 30 years, since 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with universities, Fortune 500 companies, uh, state, local, and federal government contracts. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this work for about 30 years. But since 2001 and getting cancer, it kind of took me off on a branch, which I didn't think matched up.
Mm-hmm.
Linguistics and hypnosis didn't think would match up, right? So in 2008, people started coming to me and they wanted the benefits of this, neurolinguistic programming, because I also did cranial sacral and energy work, chakra work, that kind of stuff, incorporated those things. But when deaf and hard of hearing people started coming to me, I'm like, okay, all of my training, the first thing we learn to do is put them in trance. And what we do is we say, close your eyes. So
Mm-hmm.
you're deaf and hard of hearing. And once you close your eyes, there's no communication. So
Right.
how do I hypnotize a deaf person? So I put my knowledge to the test. I implemented some things. I implemented my reticular activating system and
Mm-hmm.
asked how questions. How can this happen? So I came across Dr. John Uplerger's work. He discovered the cranial sacral system by assisting in surgery, and the surgeons asking him to hold a part of the spine, the tissue of the spine, but he couldn't hold it.
Wow.
He discovered this whole rhythmic system. So I went through all of Upledger's Institute's trainings, loved it, and worked on hundreds of people and learned that you can communicate with this part. And Dr. Upledger calls this part of us the inner physician.
Mm.
Starting to now communicate with this inner physician. And through my training, I had other therapists working on me.
Mm-hmm.
I got to really feel this communication. And as a linguist, and a Gemini, we're all about communication, right?
Yeah.
So you withhold communication, it's like abuse. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, communicate with me, please. So communication is key, and learning all of these things and understanding that, oh my gosh, then I discovered Dr. Gary Flint's work.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through this whole thing about, all right, what is conscious, what is unconscious, what is subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
He proposes that the subconscious has a separate linguistic process. And I'm like, what? Okay, as a linguist, wait a second. We consciously and unconsciously acquire language, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we might get some language while in the womb, if we're lucky, and if we have hearing. We might get that language after, but there's a part of us in the subconscious, it already has its own linguistic process.
Mm-hmm.
What he discovered was how to communicate with it.
Wow.
What I did was combine these two things
Mm-hmm.
and created a hypnosis process that doesn't require trance.
Whoa. Okay, that's interesting.
hmm And it's phenomenal. It works really great in group work. The other thing that's really, really nice about this is one of the four steps. Step number 2 is make the subjective objective.
Mm-hmm.
So once you make the subjective objective, you are then able to communicate with that. So, meaning, I am angry.
Mm-hmm.
That's subjective. So, you don't know how angry I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if I say, I'm angry, and it's on a 9 on the pain scale of 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
now it becomes objective. You know how angry I am, and you can measure it. You can
Mm-hmm.
start to measure your progress. And we use a 4-step process, activating a mechanism that's already in you. And so that's where human design comes in.
Mm-hmm.
This 4-step mechanism is already in you. We just activate it. It becomes self-directed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to go to mental health. I mean, you can, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
replace it, but it is not therapy because we don't tell the story.
Mm.
Activate the nervous system and tell the story, repeat the story. Instead, what we do is we give it a number. Okay, this
Mhm.
is my experience, and right now it's really a number 7. And so, what I do is I pull out the language that they use,
Mhm.
and then that I incorporate that into the mechanism that is going to reprocess and reprogram what's coming up the shadows, what's waking up in the unconscious. But the subconscious won't do this integration work unless all the parts that are awake related to what this number is, let's say it's a number 7, this number
Mhm.
7, and you know it's not the thing, it's something
Mhm.
inside that's waking up, all these parts
Yes.
below deck, right?
Right.
They all have to agree to the reprogramming, reprocessing, and integration work. And so that's where NLP comes in. And
Mm.
so we get the person, and it can be done collectively.
Wow.
So let's just say in a group where somebody's one of the top 3 things, relationship, focus, money. Top 3 things that I get asked for help using hypnosis. So let's just say it's a money issue.
Mhm.
Right? So somebody is working on a money issue, but collectively, we're all working on the money issue.
Mhm.
So it goes down into deep collective. So we have our individual consciousness and subconscious, then we have our collective conscious and subconscious, and then there's only one subconscious or unconscious. There's only one subconscious because we each have our own experience.
Right.
And I don't teach you anything new. I don't teach anybody anything new. The focus with hypnosis and your design is to use what you already know because you don't
Mhm.
need to learn anything, just implement.
Mm.
Well, this has all been going on. I just got back last month from Tucson presenting my abstract at the University of Arizona. So it was so much fun. My husband went with me, got to meet some Uber geeks.
Okay.
Same platform as Dr. Deepak Chopra. He was there speaking. So
Okay.
it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So from there to here, find ways to have fun and
Yeah,
let that
absolutely.
heretic out, right? And research.
Absolutely. So when you're working with someone on this particular type of experience with them, what do you find is the one thing that they have in common that they say, well, whoa, this took place or this happened to me afterwards? Like, what is that like?
That is like a wall separating you from you. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what's on the other side of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like holding a beach ball underwater.
Okay.
It requires a lot of energy. And
Mm-hmm.
the moment you look away or look off on something else, that beach
Yeah.
ball is going to come up someplace in your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Usually in your business, your relationships, your finances, it's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Problem's going to come up. So I've been working on my money issues, and my husband's been a great help with that. So find somebody who's good with money and they'll trigger I'm letting him know, you're going to trigger these money issues. I'm going to just let you know because I'm a manifestor and he's a generator. We're understanding each
Right.
other, working so well together. It's just phenomenal. You understand and apply these tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, working with somebody, it doesn't matter what it is because to be honest, I don't want to know what it is
Got you.
because it's not that thing. It's all of the things beneath the surface that are waking up that
Yes.
dictate your behavior on how you're reacting to
Mm-hmm.
what you think you're seeing.
Yep. I did a 4-hour past life regression by a dear friend of mine who's a hypnotherapist. And that shit was just like powerful. Like I would never be the same ever again after that experience at all. So I kind of understand where you're coming from when you say like it's something that when things are unraveling in you and then on the surface is one thing but it's definitely not that thing, it's something else that's taking place and happening. And so when a person is doing this work with you, how do they identify like what's unraveling, like that deep thing that's within that's not the surface thing?
The beauty of this work in hypnosis and the integration process is you don't have to identify the thing.
Okay.
You only focus in on the number that is causing pain in your life.
Mm.
Okay, so that thing could be mental anguish, mental
Mhm.
pain, physical pain,
Mhm. Mhm.
any kind of pain. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't need to know what it is if
Okay.
you're okay with that. However, for people like me, I see stories kind of go across my
Mhm.
inner movie screen. So
Mhm.
I might see a story and then a memory will come back. And the
Mhm.
memory goes from being inside my nervous system to
Mhm.
out here.
Right.
So I'm not reactive when the memory comes back.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter what the memory is. What
Wow.
happens during the integration process is once all those parts that wake up related to what the number you're focused in on. So you're having money issues, it's a 7, 8, so you're focused in on that 7, 8. It's causing relationship problems, career problems, being able to pay your bills. So while you're focused in on all of those things, all of these parts related to it are waking up in the unconscious. And
Mhm.
here's the thing, I use the word related to it. It doesn't even have to be related to it.
Mm.
It's just in a super string connected together. All
Mhm.
of these parts connected together.
Mhm.
So the subconscious sees both. It can
Mhm.
see what you're focused in, that number 9, and how
Mhm.
much pain it's causing, because of course the subconscious doesn't want us to go through any kind of pain.
Yeah, exactly.
And it sees all of those parts waking up.
Mhm.
So my job is to get you and to teach you how to get all of those parts to agree to being integrated. Most
Mm.
of them will usually agree, but Dr. Gary Flint discovered that there are childlike parts that are used to protect us, and
Mhm.
so those parts will come up, and we'll use neurolinguistic programming so that those parts are going to be integrated. Because what we want to integrate is not the reactions, not the responses or the behaviors that come up
Mhm.
that kind of take over the driver's seat.
Mhm.
What we want is to integrate the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of that experience.
Got you.
Because what we tend to do is suppress it, hold
Mhm.
that beach ball underwater. We got to stop doing that shit, because
Right.
what we end up doing is projectile vomiting on each other. And
Yeah.
look, have you been to Chicago lately?
No.
Okay. Don't come to Chicago. I mean, I'm a Chicago girl and I'm like, yeah, come to Chicago. Come on. Can't wait till you come to Chicago. I'm telling you, stay away from Chicago. We are projectile vomiting on each other.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
So
That's
that's
crazy.
kind of where, if somebody was to do this work, create these shifts
Yeah.
within themselves. And once you understand the mechanism within you, this 4 steps, it's self directed. And I want to get this out to as many people as possible.
Yes, ma'am. When you're talking, it reminds me when you're talking about the different parts, it reminds me of IFS,
What's IFS?
internal family system.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard of that. I love it.
Yeah, look it up, and it talks about the different parts that we have within ourselves that causes us to behave the way that we behave and think the way that we think. So you have the little girl, the little boy in you. You have the teenager. You got the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old, and those parts tend to pop up from time to time, depending on what situation you're in or what you're doing at the time frame that it pops up. So the little girl in you might be throwing a fucking temper tantrum, and you're throwing an adult tantrum, but that's the child in you. So it's having those parts integrate to be one whole complete self. It's called,
Absolutely. I love it. So
yeah.
I'm turning 58 next month,
Oh, look
and 5 plus 8 is 13. So this year I'm embracing my inner 13-year-old.
at okay. Well, I
Hmm.
just turned 47, so
So 11, I'm older than you, so I get to boss you around.
whatever.
Whatever.
I don't listen, so
I know my 11-year-old didn't either.
my 13-year-old was yeah, she was
She was
something.
bossy. She-
She just danced to the beat of her own fucking drum. She ain't give a shit. She like, what? You want me to go left? Nah, I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna go over there. Right.
Totally,
So
totally.
yeah, check out IFS. It's kind of like the same concept, but yours, I feel like it's more in depth and more detailed. And
I definitely have some inner conversations going on here. So like I have my inner Captain Janeway. So I'm a Star Trek fan. Are you a Star Trek
Okay.
fan? Okay, so I put on my inner Captain Janeway and I have my black coffee in the morning,
Okay.
and do it.
Right.
Do it. That's her command. Do it.
Do
So
it.
she's a good manifester, a good leader. She's got people doing all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
That ship can go through battle and the next scene it's in perfect working condition.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, that's just so interesting and fascinating. And it sounds like you're helping a lot of people to pretty much independently learn how to heal themselves on a different way, in a different level. And that whole, ball in the water terminology really, really clicks with me because when you do lift it away, it just goes way the hell over there. So I totally get it. So, how can people connect with you, find you, work with you, get all of this good stuff, this fascinating stuff that you're talking about? Because I think that this definitely needs to be out into the world. And some may be confused by it, but I'm just like, yeah, I know. Yep, I know that. Because I've done human design before, and I am a generator. But I don't know like all the moving parts to what it is and how it is. I just know my ass is a generator.
And that's all you need to know. So, we do give free group sessions, but I do go through a process, a smaller group. I go through a process where we
Mhm,
go through each of the nine, and
mhm,
there's 6 areas of the manifestation wheel. So,
mhm,
we focus in on what is defined and what is
mhm.
undefined, and we start with it's kind of like going on a journey, and then we find out what your definitions are. I'm a single definition, meaning I make a decision right there and then. Now my husband's a triple definition, meaning he has 3 distinct voices inside him. Once I understood that and he understood that, our relationship, there was like it was went to peace. Now my natural self is peace, my not self is anger,
Mhm.
whereas his natural self is satisfaction and his not self is frustration. And
Mm,
so when we understand our not selves, and we understand when it's coming on, all I have to say is, the heretic's coming out and she's mad.
mhm.
He gets it.
Yeah,
Or all he has to say is, I'm going through my triple percolator because he's going through some kind of decision that I
right.
have to back off because I'm already decided. I already know what I decided, right? It's like, come on, decide already. But he has to go through his process. So, this right there, helping within a relationship and understanding a basic energetic blueprint
Mhm.
reduces frustration and opens up communication. So we talk more about it. But I do have to say there's a ton of information out there about human design.
Yep, there is.
Just take with one what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Got you.
That's it. If you're a splenic energy type or you're a sacral energy type, which I suspect you're a sacral energy type. Sacral energy types have unending energy, whereas manifestors, man, we got to really like
Mhm.
ration our energy. I mean, yeah, it's just amazing the difference.
It
And
is.
this is how we learn about each other so that we can work together, seeing each other as an energetic being first and
Right,
foremost.
right,
It's like, okay, I'm an energetic being, you're an energetic being. How do our energies work together?
right.
Generators and manifestors, they need each other.
Mhm.
Start there. What a
Right.
great place to start.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation and always, always a pleasure. So, can you tell everyone where they could find you? Are you like
Oh, yeah. Human hypnosisbydesign.com. And I'm also on Facebook. I'm limiting my platforms.
I
Facebook,
get it.
yeah. Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn because
Okay.
I do some corporate work, and podcast and YouTube. So,
Awesome.
yeah. And then we have a group called the Human Design Deconditioning Experiment, and that is where we do free group sessions.
Okay. And where is that? Is that on
It's on
Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, cool beans. All right. Well, you guys heard it here first. I said she was going to drop some gems and some knowledge. So when this recording comes out, you guys are going to have to plus rewind and go back again and listen because it's some good stuff. So connect with Deni. She's an awesome, amazing beautiful being. It's good to know her. It's good to connect with her. So do yourself a solid and connect with this lady because she is amazing. I just learned something new today as well.
You're my mirror. Gosh, I miss you.
I miss you too. But you said don't come to Chicago, so I can't come.
No, you can come to Sycamore. I'm in Sycamore. Come on out.
Okay. All right. I may do that one of these days. So
Oktoberfest, Pumpkin Fest.
okay, pumpkin fest. Not too much into pumpkins, but I will come because it's you. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate you. Again, have an amazing day. This is What's Your Brand Story podcast with Zills Victoria, and see you guys soon. Bye.